When we go back to the spiritual piece, one thing that I have really picked up on in the last few months is energy work. And understanding this idea that our children are a reflection of the emotions we are putting out ourselves. An example is the other night I was exhausted and tired, and we were getting over a cold, which we have had for like 2 weeks. Thank you, universe, for helping us learn to slow down. And I was getting a little frustrated with my kiddo who did not want to brush her teeth. And so I started to get frustrated. Guess what she started doing back? Frustrated. The more I got frustrated, the more she came back at it, right? It can be so hard in that moment to calm our body down because in my mind has these red flags, beep, beep, beep. They're going off in my head.
Hi, conscious parents. It's Carrie here, and I am here with a little info about raising our mindful kids. I've got some tips and tricks about breaking free of the box and becoming who you are and teaching your kids how to do that along the way. Join us.
Hey, conscious parents. Today we're going to talk about being a spiritual parent and what that looks like and raising our kids in a spiritual way. So we're really embracing it around here at Heart to Heart Parents, and it's kind of almost a little bit of a rebrand, and we're really embracing it as we see that parents really are asking for these opportunities in their worlds. I was recently doing a speaking event with some other amazing people, and it was so fun to connect with so many conscious parents. And I realized that so much of what parenting looks like for me is energy work, inner pieces as a parent, working on myself, and then inner pieces of my kids, and then connection between the two of us, right? So when we're talking, there's the mindfulness piece. Really, there's so much online about that nowadays, right? You can Google it, you can find apps for it, there's books for it, there's guided meditations, there's all this mindful pieces. Teaching our kids these mindful tools when they're young is so beneficial for them. Imagine where they'll be when they're 40 years old as well, right? Things that we've had to readjust, come back to ourselves. Probably we didn't maintain in our 20s, maybe if we grew up with it, like myself. Those are pieces that we can really help our kids with. So the mindset pieces are something that are so important. And then there's the peaceful parenting, these connected pieces of seeing our children for who they are, loving them for who they are, but then also the challenges that they have with them, supporting them and seeing them where they're at. And then hearing your own intuition to know which things you can jump on the bandwagon with and which things you need to throw out. Because there's so much information about parenting out there that it can be easy to want to do all of it, which can also cause anxiety for us mamas and dads. So being conscious about what is important in your house, what is going to align with you, yourself, your husband, your partner, your wife, your kids, your dog. I don't know, maybe it goes with the dog, your fish, but really thinking about what is in alignment with your house and what you feel like really resonates with you, being in tune with that. And then also with that, one other key thing I love to talk about is, yes, boundaries. Boundaries are part of the puzzle too, right? We can have this connection with our kids and then also have boundaries with it. And when I have that strong connection with my kids, when I need to bring in those boundaries, I can do it in a loving way and a connected way. And that is going to keep that connection flowing with my kids. That is going to really resonate. I actually like the phrase, I use it with my 10-year-old because he's now at the age where he's questioning, right? Even my 7-year-old questions too now. Raising those conscious kids too, right? So I love to use the term, I'm here to support you. I am here to parent you and nurture you and connect with you. Part of my job is challenging you. And part of my job is bringing you up to the next level of yourself. And so part of that sometimes can look like things that are more challenging for your body, for your heart. And I might have to do some of these challenges with you, but I'm going to support you. And I'm still going to be here and here when you're feeling frustrated by that. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was the spiritual piece, right? What does that mean? Well, I like to break it down and give you some of these bonus episodes that have some of these energy work pieces, guided meditation with energy work. It was really interesting. The other day, my husband and I were talking about guided meditations because when we first started our adventure in meditating, it was about 11 years ago now, when I was pregnant with my son, we were really in it. We knew that we had to really focus on meditation and developing our meditation skills. And it was really cool because we had some book, I can't remember, it was like seven steps to a meditation. And it was neat because each step was a different idea of how to meditate. They didn't have the guided meditation apps back then, 11 years ago, even that short term ago, we didn't have it. And it was kind of cool because we had to learn how to meditate on our own. And we were going through these steps of how to do it on our own without having the guide. The guide is cool, but also doing it without the guide is going to teach you how to sit with your thoughts. It's going to teach you how to release your thoughts when you're sitting. It's going to teach you things that you don't necessarily learn with the guides, right? So I actually challenge you guys to try meditating as a parent by yourself. You can do a bathroom meditation if you need it, parents, a car meditation, a meeting space meditation at work. If you get like a 5-minute break and can run into a meeting room, there you go. But try to sit alone with your thoughts and release those thoughts alone with your mind, body, spirit connection to be present and conscious and aware instead of just being guided along in this path, right? Being guided along. It's almost, I would describe it almost like maybe watching TV or watching a how-to on YouTube, right? You're following along on the path, but you're not actively maybe trying it sometime. Well, I guess you're actively trying it, but it's just I think it's a step up when you're trying it without the guide too. And then also having your kids try that with you as well. When we go back to the spiritual piece, one thing that I have really picked up on in the last few months is energy work. And understanding this idea that our children are a reflection of the emotions we are putting out ourselves. An example is, the other night, I was exhausted and tired, and we were getting over a cold, which we have had for like 2 weeks. Thank you, universe, for helping us learn to slow down. And I was getting a little frustrated with my kiddo who did not want to brush her teeth. And so I started to get frustrated. Guess what she started doing back? Frustrated. The more I got frustrated, the more she came back at it, right? It can be so hard in that moment to calm our body down because in my mind has these red flags, beep, beep, beep. They're going off in my head. Why isn't this kid brushing her teeth? Why does she keep pushing my buttons? Why can't she listen to me? Does she do this at school? Is she going to become a delinquent? Is she going to never get a job? It's like you go down the road. And so think about that energetically. She's feeling that pressure. She's feeling that intensity. So luckily my husband was like, hey, go wash the dishes if you want for a second. I can take over. And he came in with a grounded, calm energy. And that reflected back on our kiddo. He sat down with her, played with her, calmed her down for a few minutes, and then she went and brushed her teeth. Now, if you think I would have stayed in that room and been going, and I'm the mom and you need to listen, and I kept, right? The ego, the anger, the fear, all these pieces come up, it's just going to keep cycling. And it can get worse and worse, especially on a sensitive kid at the end of the day when they're getting over whatever illness we've had. Think of all those pressures we're putting on that kid's system. That's something to think about with the energy work, is the reflection of us and showing what also we may need to work on in ourselves as well, right? There's that inner child piece of, why do I feel like I need to control? Why did I get so worked up about this? Why did I let that fear control me and come in and snowball in my brain? There's some inner work to work on too. So that's what I talk about when I'm thinking about the spirituality and the energy work. Also, teaching our kids about energy, how everything is made up of energy. I'm energy, you're energy, the plants are energy, the sun has energy, right? All of these pieces, the earth has its own vibrational energy. Everything is made up of energy. And so if there's this idea, right, like the string effect, if somebody over here is feeling or moving the string, somebody over here feels the string, right? Feels the string moves, picks up on it. So there's that idea, and that is so cool that you can teach that to your kids. And we can teach them to notice, using the mind, body, spirit connections, we can teach them to notice the energy in a space, the energy that mom or dad feels, brother or sister feels, friends feel. That's a big one at school, right? Understanding that energy. We can do energy protection ideas. I love doing the white light spiraling around us. golden light spiraling around us, roots growing into the ground, and then we say a little mantra, positive energy only, no negative energy allowed. And so it is. It's so important that we teach our kids actively about energy. And I love to keep doing these bonus episodes where I can go into it more. I'm just wanting to give a little quick introduction for those who are new here with Heart to Heart Parents. We've had a huge amount of following, and it's really cool to see so many amazing people. Thank you so much for listening, listeners. And I wanted to go back and just kind of go through some of these pieces of what we've been seeing. So in the spirituality piece, we have the mindset too. We've talked about that, right? We've talked about maybe you want to learn more about the law of attraction. I love Abraham Hicks. Law of attraction is great if you're looking for anything. There's so many resources on YouTube. With that comes the idea of the energy that we put out is the energy we're going to receive. So being conscious of that as a parent, right? It kind of was reflected with my kiddo when we were wanting to brush our teeth, huh? The energy I'm putting out, energy I receive. And you can think about it in bigger pictures. That is so important to teach your kids. The magnetic energy, I love talking about that. Changing our mindset from the negative of what we don't want to see to the positive of what we do want to see. Those go under the mindful pieces. And then acknowledging our thoughts and our behaviors and patterns that we see. Those are so important. Naming it to tame it. I love Dr. Dan Siegel. Name it to tame it. It's great. The whole brain child. So actively helping your child to name their emotions, their behaviors, what is going on, the challenges, and bringing them back down. You can tailor that with a spiritual piece of helping them stomp the energy out. You can bring in solfeggio frequencies on YouTube. There's different chakras. There's all 7 chakras. So you could put in solfeggio frequency heart chakra. And it brings in, if you were feeling sad, that could bring in to help reset the heart. I've actually been doing these every morning. And now that I've done all 7, the kids will say, I want red today, Mom. Or like if we're all feeling really in our heads and we're all getting emotional, I really love doing the red root chakra. That's a great one. So this is just a really quick bonus episode, rundown, catch up for those who are just starting to get started with us. I wanted to just give a little background information and kind of connect everything together. One thing I would love for you to think about as you're going on your parenting journey is any time that you introduce something into your day with your kiddo, into your life, if you're reading a parenting book, if you're listening to this podcast, any podcast, and you're wanting to add something in, do it slowly, do it intentionally, and do it with connection. Because when we're connecting with our kids, connecting with ourselves, connecting with our partner, connecting with our dogs, we can feel the energy. We can feel what our kids are needing, what we're needing in our hearts, what anybody is needing in that moment. Thanks for listening, conscious parents. Happy days.
Well, that's a wrap. Thanks so much for tuning in, Changemakers. This is Carrie. And if you haven't done a review for us, 5 stars and a little few words about what you've enjoyed in our podcast episodes, we would really appreciate it. If you guys would like to ever message me, I would love any questions you have or any feedback at info@hearttoheartlife.com. We also have a brand new website, which we're super excited to share. It's hearttoheartlife.com. Thanks so much for tuning in, and happy life, happy times, Changemaker families. Bye. Please remember that the information shared on this podcast is educational in nature and does not constitute licensed mental health advice. If you need such advice, you should speak with a licensed professional about your unique situation. Thanks so much, happy listeners.